this has truly become springtime football. We first started doing this in 1980. People thought we were nuts. You're reading the phone book on national television. Well, think again. Everybody watching coast to coast all over the world. We're on ESPN.com. There's ESPN Radio. There's the ESPN Zone with NFL Player Chat. We've got expert panels in Bristol. I feel like I'm Jackson Brown. We got truckers on CB. We got Richard Pryor on the video. We have video teleconferencing with all 31 teams. There's the zone. We hope we are in the zone because you know what? We've been chomping at the bit to talk NFL football since the end of the Pro Bowl in early February. So, that is his honor as starting in his second decade now. Commissioner Paul Tagliabue gets to theoretically throw down the gavel and open up this NFL draft. So, let's go. I mean, we're going to talk Atlanta. We'll wait for the commissioner to immediately open it. But the Atlanta Falcons, they have Chris Chandler hurt a lot. Yep. I'll tell you what, we're going to go to the commissioner. You see, here's his name, and here he is. See, we work together here.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2001 NFL College Player Draft. We appreciate all you fans who have joined us here in New York today, as well as the millions around the nation watching on ESPN. We also extend our thanks to everyone involved in college and high school football for all you do for the great game of football. The Atlanta Falcons have the first pick in this 2001 NFL Draft, and the Falcons are now on the clock.
2 years ago at this time, the Atlanta Falcons were the defending NFC champs. The bottom, of course, fell out. 4-12. They couldn't move on offense. They couldn't stop very many people on defense. They have a quarterback in Chris Chandler. Gets hurt often, but when he's in, they play pretty well. They got Eric Zier to be a backup. So what should be the plan for Michael Vick? Watch for a year and two, play in goal line situations. Yeah. What would you do with him, Joe?
I certainly think that Michael Vick right now is going to be a football player that has to think that I am going to play in this particular year at some point in time. I don't care whether Chris Chandler's healthy or not. I still think they'll try and work him in. They'll give him specific packages. They'll give him 5 or 6 plays to run in different situations. I would think if you want to stress an area for him, put him down around the goal line. That would be the place he would be most effective.
How many times are they going to be near the goal line?
You guess what? You'll never guess who this pick is. Let's go to the podium.
With the first selection in the 2001 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Michael Vick, quarterback, Virginia Tech.
That's the fastest their offense has moved since they gave the ball to Jamal Anderson in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Joe's making a point about Chris Chandler and things he does well. Chris Chandler throws a great deep ball. Dan Reeves likes throwing the ball downfield. And Michael Vick throws a tremendous deep ball. So there's a good match there.
Let's back off for a minute and analyze what a moment this is for this young man who has played 2 years of big-time college football at Virginia Tech, whose difference from September and October a year ago to the end of this past season. I mean, you talk about a learning curve that was a skyrocket. And here he is. He's the #1 pick in the NFL. Just try to put yourself, who knows how many millions.
I know the excitement in Atlanta, because I do live in Atlanta. I'm telling you, this guy connects with a young generation of football fans.
Well, your son. Your son told you to go season
I've got to buy season tickets now, but I'm telling you, Atlanta needed something inspirational, and Dan Reeves provided it.
And one thing about, you talk about Michael Vick, he is a leader. He is a guy that can rally the troops. The team really galvanizes around Michael Vick. He will work at it. He will spend time evaluating and breaking down film, the tendencies of the opponent, Joe. He will have the work ethic and the diligence and attention to detail that you need to develop those skills. That's a major plus in his favor.
And when you sit down with the young man, you get the sense that he understands that there is a learning curve. He knows he doesn't know everything. He knows that there's a process that has to take place. I just think the things that he possesses, the gifts that he has physically, are not things that you just go out and learn.
Since the common draft, since 1970, this is the 11th quarterback to go overall #1. 2 years ago was Tim Couch with the Browns. 3 years ago, of course, Peyton Manning with Indianapolis. Drew Bledsoe in '93 with the Patriots. Jeff George, one of the more interesting Mel stories over the year, went in 1990 with the Colts. Troy Aikman, that pick turned out, I think, okay for Dallas in '89. Vinny Testaverde with the Bucs in 1987. John Elway picked by the Colts, but of course the trade with Denver. Steve Bartkowski, yes, Atlanta did this 26 years ago. Jim Plunkett, 71 with the Patriots, won Super Bowls, but obviously with the Raiders, not with New England. And a guy named Terry Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls, being drafted #1 in 1970. So that's pretty good company to be put in right there.
And speaking with Butch Davis, who coached at Miami against Michael Vick and Donovan McNabb, he used this comparison. He said he thought Vick had more quarterback skills than McNabb, but he also said he went golfing with Frank Beamer last year, and Beamer just raving about this kid's charisma, and as his teammates truly love this guy.
You mentioned his ability to throw the football. The thing that I looked at when I studied his workouts, and when you watch him go through this specific workout that he had, you'll see traits that quarterbacks have to learn. Here's the quickness going back. Now keep in mind, he is a lefty, and he's throwing the ball out to the right. Look at his feet turn. See how he turns his shoulders, gets the ball out quickly. I believe the hardest pass for a quarterback to throw any level is a little swing pass. And then you look at the timing of the route. He doesn't hesitate. The delivery is just a flick of the wrist. The ball comes out so easy, so comfortably, resets, anticipates. You see him loaded. The receiver hasn't turned around yet. He lets the ball go. There's the perfect intersection as the receiver comes out of his route. Those are the things that sold me on this young man as a quarterback.
But he is thrown against error there. I mean,
I don't care.
Because I have had some very good coaches in this league, quarterback guys, who say they really have a big question mark on him. I will say that. There is.
You have to have a question mark on a 20-year-old man. I think that's given. But the upside is tremendous.
1 sentence each. 3-4 years from now, big star in the NFL, Mel?
I think it's a big question. I think it's a roll of the dice type pick.
Joe?
I absolutely think he will be at the level of a Dante Culpepper or a Donovan McNabb at least.
Mort?
For once, I'm going to agree with Joe.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. What will be the pack? Do we have a number on what this is going to be, dollar-wise?
Oh, it's going to be similar to that $40 to $50 million deal, although guaranteed money in the first 3 years is really the key thing. It'll be about $15 million guaranteed in the first 3 years, although he has given Atlanta an extra year in terms of when he voids that contract. The traditional number is void after 3. This one will be void after 4. And there are always 2 contracts in one when you do these deals.
26 years ago, we mentioned Steve Bartkowski was a very good quarterback for Atlanta, #1 overall. The first ever pick of this franchise was 1966. A little history here. A lot of people don't follow the Falcons. Tommy Nobis. He was pretty darn good at middle linebacker. If Michael Vick can approach Nobis and Bartkowski, I think fans in Atlanta will be thrilled. I know Michael Vick is thrilled. Chris Fowler's thrilled that he's sitting with him. Hey, Chris.
Well, Chris, this is not Michael Vick's first draft. He was the 30th round amateur draft selection of the Colorado Rockies back in June. Michael, I imagine this is just a tad more exciting for you. Is the heart rate still up?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, it's very exciting. And, you know, it's something I always dreamed about. I always dreamed about walking that stage, you know, meeting Paul, and it all came true for me. You know, so I'm very excited, you know, very happy to be playing for Atlanta Falcons, and, you know, hopefully everything will go good for me.
What's your reaction to the trade? For probably a few months, you were envisioning yourself as a San Diego Charger. That suddenly changes on draft eve. Now the projections are you may play a lot sooner than you would have in San Diego.
Yeah, I always thought this throughout the entire process that I was going to be a Charger, but, you know, the trade was made, and my agent, you know, informed me that some trades may be made, and, you know, I knew that. So, you know, I'm just happy, and if I go in there and I have to play, then that's what I have to do. You know, that's what they're paying me for.
Well, you had a redshirt year at Virginia Tech that was very important to your development. We talked yesterday, no redshirt year in the NFL, but the big debate is, guys debating it on the set, how soon are you ready to step in and absorb the offense?
Well, first I have to learn the offense, and then, you know, I'll be a whole lot more comfortable, you know, when I'm out there playing. You know, it just gives you a better feeling being out there and gives you the feeling that you can make things happen. So,
how much better equipped are you? You came to college, you were kind of puzzled by the complexity of the Hokies offense. You considered changing positions to wide receiver at one point because you were frustrated. Are you much better equipped now to pick up an offense?
I think now I know a lot more about the game, you know, so I think I'm ready to take on the challenge, and I don't think learning the other offense will be a problem for me.
You don't have a lot on your resume for a #1 pick. You've played maybe a handful of games against top-quality college competition, but have you ever reflected on how much money you made and how much your stock raised? One game against Florida State in that Sugar Bowl?
One game, you know, and my stock flew through the roof, you know, and, you know, it was just Lord's blessing, you know, and I have to thank him, you know, for all of this, you know.
Michael, congratulations. Best of luck in Atlanta. Very happy guy. Chris, very relieved guy, too.
right, Chris and Michael, congratulations. I mean, #1 pick in the draft. I mean, let's make this human for a minute.